So to get started with our feather bubble, what we're going to need is a 24-inch Qualatex Deco Bubble. I'm using a piece of card to make a funnel for my feathers to easily go into my balloon, and then I've got my bag of rose gold feathers. So let's get started with putting these into the Deco Bubble. So we're just going to tear open the packaging first of all and see what's inside. So we have our Deco Bubble and the moisture pack. Sometimes they can dry out, so they always come with a moisture pack, and it just helps the plastic of the bubble to stay supple. I'm just going to put a little bit of helium inside just to free up my bubble and open it up a little bit. I'm just going to make a very simple funnel with this piece of card, and I just carefully, in fact it only needs to be really quite narrow, so I'm just going to carefully pop it inside the neck of the bubble, and then I'm just going to grab a load of feathers and push them into the balloon. These are quite strong feathers, so you don't need to be too gentle with them. Don't waste any because they're expensive.
So I've got about 10 grams worth of feathers inside this bubble now, so I'm now going to inflate it. I am using a Conwin split second sizer, but you can just use a helium cylinder with a latex tilt valve on it. Make sure you're not using a foil valve because you'll stop filling before your balloon is full. I am actually using the foil valve on this occasion, but as you can see there are wrinkles down the side. So once I've got that as full as I can, I just flick over to the latex inflator and just make sure that it is inflated so there are no lines at all on the seam of the balloon. That's really important for a bubble, that there's no lines at all. Once it comes off, just get it and give it 3 twists, and then we're ready to seal this balloon. So I'm going to grab a scrap of a 260Q modelling balloon, and all I do is just wrap it around my neck of my balloon 3 or 4 times really tightly, so it's not going to come undone. And then once I've got it wrapped around there, I can tie it in a couple of knots just to secure it really well. Once we've got the modelling balloon attached and we're happy that that's sealed nicely, we can just snip off the excess pieces of the balloon. And then we need to add our ribbon. So I'm just going to use a piece of rose gold curling ribbon, nothing special. And then all I do is create a loop knot. So make a loop, put it around the balloon and just pull the loose ends through it. And then tie 2 knots, again just to secure it. Now we're ready for our balloon collar.
So now we've got our feather bubble inflated, we need to add the mini balloons underneath, and I've got 2 different rose gold here. This is the Sempertex rose gold, which is a little bit paler than the Qualatex one. So you can see the difference between the 2 colours, and I think I'm going to go for the Sempertex one with this one. So, those back in their jar. 3, 4, 1, 2. I'm just going to use my hand pump to do this. You just make your 2 balloons the same size and tie them together. And then I always cut off the necks of the balloons as well. And I think I'm going to put this with white, this one. And these are Qualatex Pearl White that I'm going to use with this. Now you need to get your two sets of balloons and just cross them over together so it makes a quad. And then I just pop it on the top of there. Do the same with this one. Pop it on the top. And then use your ribbons to just do a figure of 8 around to attach it onto your balloon. Like that. And I'm just going to use a foil balloon weight on the bottom of this one, just to stop it from floating away. And now I'm going to go back to my studio and personalise it.
So this is the type of mirrored chrome vinyl that I'm using for this balloon. It is Decal brand and it's from MDP Supplies again. I usually buy it in a 10-metre roll. It isn't cut for the size of the Cricut mat, but you can easily do that yourself. You can see from here that the roll is about 60 centimetres, I think, in width. And I just cut off the 20 centimetre square pieces as I need them, like I am here. So I'm just prepping my mat now. So one thing that's really important when you're using a chrome vinyl like this one is that you don't use your scraper to press it down onto your mat. Try to use the brayer or a roller if you've got one, just to make sure that you don't scratch the surface, because this is really shiny. Scratches and anything like that are really noticeable, especially if you're putting it onto a balloon. So now I'm just going to jump into Cricut Design Space and sort out the lettering that's going onto the balloon. So this one's going to say Happy 16th Zara. And once I've got it typed out, I'm just going to ungroup it and then select each word and pull it down onto its own separate line so that I can rearrange them how I want them to be. So once I've got each word, I'm just going to pull them across into the middle, and I'm just going to select a little piece of the grid to line up with and just centre them there on the canvas. You can use the centre tool if you want to, but I just find this easier to do this way. So I just select each word and move it around manually, and then once I've done that and I've got them on top of one another, I'm just going to resize it, and I'm going to make it about 20 centimeters there or thereabouts, because that's the size that I normally use on a Qualatex bubble. So now we just need to make sure that our text is going to cut properly on the mat. So I'm just going to go to make it quickly and just see what it comes out like. And as we can see, all the letters and numbers are all jumbled up, so we need to go back to the canvas and we need to either weld or use the attach function. And today I'm going to use attach because I don't need to weld because it's not a scripted font, so it's just hit attach. And then we can go back to make it, and hopefully our letters should look exactly like they do on our canvas. So let's go up there to make it. So there we go, that's exactly what we want it to look like, and we can see on the left hand side now it says we've got one mat and it's doing a basic cut. So now we're just going to click continue. Now we need to choose our base material. So for this one I'm going to use vinyl, just the regular vinyl setting, nothing metallic or anything like that. So I've already got it set in my presets as vinyl, but you can also go up to the right hand side and browse all materials if you need to do that. So now that we've got our material selected, it takes us to this screen and it shows us that our vinyl is selected. We're leaving the pressure as default and we can now move back to our machine and load the mat. So I've got the mat loaded in there. I'm just going to hit the flashing C button and the machine will start the cut for us. So now I've got the vinyl off the Cricut machine and I'm just going to start my weeding. I'm leaving it on the mat because it makes it a lot easier to hold with just one hand, and you don't have to worry too much about it moving around then. I'm just using one of my regular straight weeding tools as well, just to help me to remove it carefully, and then I'm just going to take out all the centres from the letters just after I've peeled the main body of the vinyl away. As usual with all our vinyl projects, what we want to do now is flip the mat over to remove the vinyl sheet from the mat. This just stops your design from curling up and keeps it nice and flat at all times. Now you're just going to want to grab your favourite transfer tape or transfer paper and just cut out a piece that's big enough for your design. This is my usual detape contour paper. There's a whole video about this, where you can get it from and all that sort of stuff. I will link that above for you. So I'm just cutting out the piece that I need and then I shall just roll my roll back up. Next, now that we've got it attached to the transfer paper, we need to give it a good braid down. So I'm using my roller. You can also use your scraper at this stage. We just need to make sure that it's really well adhered to the transfer paper, and this does make it much easier to remove from the vinyl backing paper if it is well stuck on and well braided down. It's a good idea to just check it, so lift it up slightly, and then if it's not quite done, you can either roll it again or you can get your scraper like I am, just using my Cricut XL scraper to give it an extra press down. Make sure that it's really well adhered. Once you're sure that you've got it pressed down really well, you can start peeling away your backing paper slowly and very carefully. And you'll see why I say very carefully in a moment, because best laid plans always go wrong. So even going really slow and really carefully and peeling back each letter, I've still managed to cut off the bottom of the Z. So I'm going to have to cut myself a new Z for this balloon, which is a bit annoying. I've just got my bubble now placed between me and the wall because it makes it easier for me to place the vinyl. I'm just doing it by eye, and then once I've got it lined up and I'm happy that it's relatively straight, I just go over each one of the letters individually and adhere them onto the balloon. And then once I've done that, I can peel back my transfer paper and make sure that it's all pressed down well. Just go over it with your fingers again, just to make sure you've got no bubbles and stuff in each of your letters. So I'm just grabbing a scrap piece of vinyl now from my scraps box. I'm just going to cut myself an individual Z so that I can reattach that onto the balloon. Luckily it's nice and quick and easy to fix a problem like this, but you know, these things happen. It's one of those things. You've just got to take it in your stride, and if you do have to replace a letter, it's okay. It's just more practice for you, so don't worry too much about it if you do mess it up. You can see up the top there of the picture I've got my little pink folder, and that is full of lots of different sheets of vinyl that I've cut out into stars, because when I do a bubble I like to surround the outside of my lettering or my design with some stars, just to accessorise it a little bit, and it just makes it a little bit more jazzy and a bit more of an involved design. I feel I don't actually apply each star with a piece of transfer paper or anything like that. I literally just peel them off my sheet and just pop them all onto the balloon individually, just where I think they look nice, and it's just something extra, and if you're selling your balloons it's a little bit more added value for the customer as well. So there's my final Z that I'm going to add onto my balloon. So I've just got it onto a tiny bit of transfer paper, and I'm just going to line it up with where it needs to be and just apply it like I would normally with a decal. Obviously this is just on a much smaller scale. Just give it a good rub over and then peel it off. I'm going to be really careful to peel it off this time. There we go, and that looks brilliant. Now it's time to just stick on a few of my stars from my pre-cut sheet, and then this balloon will be ready to go out to Zara for her birthday. So that's all for today, guys. Thanks for watching. Thanks for bearing with me. Obviously you can probably tell by my voiceovers that I'm still not feeling very well. Hopefully I will be back to normal within the next week or so, and uploads will resume as normal. So I hope you've enjoyed this video and that you found it useful. I really love making feather bubbles. They're so pretty. And they just look so nice for any occasion. We do them for all sorts of different things, birthdays, christenings, you name it, we've done it. So I hope this has been helpful for you. If you've got any questions, please drop them down below and I'll do my best to answer. I will list everything that I've used in the description box down below as well. So if you want to find out where I've got anything from, what I've used, take a look down there. If you have enjoyed the video, please give it a big thumbs up and consider subscribing, because I'd love to see you here for the next one. Have a brilliant day. Take care. Thanks for watching. Bye.